Sonic the Hedgehog, one of the most popular video game franchises of all time, and Funko. Funko is one of the biggest leaders in the collectible figure scene with their massively popular Funko Pops and sodas. So it's a no-brainer that both Sega and Funko would express interest in Sonic the Hedgehog joining many of their most popular lines. And throughout the years, Funko has made so much items with the Sonic license. I want to cover as much Funko items as we can, so we're going to talk about everything. And yes, I am talking about everything, not just their main items. I want this to be one of the more definitive videos on the subject, so I'm going to be covering as much as possible. So for the first part of this video, I'm going to be focusing on their main Sonic items, talking about their figurines from the very beginning to the present day. And after that, we'll talk about their more miscellaneous items. Oh, and by the way, no leaks. As much as I'd love to talk about the possibility of an ugly Sonic Funko Pop and a Chaotix 3-pack, yeah, look, if there's no product image to associate with them, then we're not going to be talking about it because it's not confirmed, so I'm not going to be spreading false information like that. So without further ado, let's begin with the Wacky Wobblers. So starting in 2010, Funko releases their very first Sonic products. To someone's surprise, I'm sure, it's the Wacky Wobblers. The Wacky Wobblers are basically just bobbleheads, and they had a Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, and for the most part they do look alright. They originally retailed for $12.99, and for bobbleheads they do look really nice. Interestingly enough, a year after release, Sonic and Tails got revisions. I guess Knuckles was already perfect to them. Sonic's biggest difference was the decision on making his colors darker. The other difference I did notice are his eyes. And Tails didn't have as much differences besides his eyes and his mouth color being changed from red to black, something I wish Jax did, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. And one more thing I wanted to mention about these Wacky Wobblers is the prototype for Sonic. Yeah, the base was colored more like Green Hill Zone than the Hilltop like covered base that we ended up getting. And the Sonic logo was actually more akin to the classic Sonic logo than it was the modern logo, but it was eventually changed to the modern logo we're familiar with. But overall, they do look nice. The sculpt looks nice enough, and to this day, they don't go for much out of box. So with their first products, Funko didn't actually do a bad job. But 3 years later, we would get items that more people are familiar with, the Funko Pops. So yeah, back in 2013, Funko released its very first set of Sonic Pops, consisting of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. And yeah, they do look weird, because at the time we were like so used to seeing their big white eyes, or you know, in Sonic's case, his eye. So these definitely look a little off. Sonic over here looking so mad he's gonna go have sex with his girlfriend, and with his white eyes and a weird body sculpt that actually kind of makes him look like Crash Bandicoot in a way. Tails just, I'll just admit it, looks flat out weird. I hate how lanky his body sculpt is. It makes him look really tall, and I'm pretty sure he's actually the tallest out of all of them, and you know he's supposed to be the shortest. And his ears look smaller than they're supposed to be. And Knuckles definitely looks the closest to how he usually looks, although he's always squatting down for some reason. I'm not a big fan of how he's always just squatting down for something. But for the first attempt, Sonic in the pop figure form looks weird. They don't have the best painter sculpt, especially Tails, but overall it's something. But the real notable thing about these guys are the value, and it's interesting. So according to Pop Price Guides, Sonic is valued at $142, Tails is valued at $147, and Knuckles is valued at a whopping $206. Now, at the time, it's not too surprising because Funko Pops got insanely popular within the next 4 years after release, which resulted in the demand skyrocketing. And because at the time they weren't crazy popular like they were now, they weren't produced as much. Thankfully, out of box they don't go as much because they would eventually get revisions that look 10 times better, but overall, they're just okay. Trust me, you'll have better options later on, as you clearly probably already know, but we're still going to talk about them. So after a few years since the original release of the Sonic Funko Pops, Funko releases a new set in 2017 featuring a new Sonic, Shadow, and Eggman, and variants of the same three characters. Sonic with Ring is the new common Sonic that you can still find for retail to this day. There is a variant of the sculpt, a glow-in-the-dark pop that released exclusively at Toys R Us. And while talking about a glow up here, this new Sonic pop clears the old one out of the water. The sculpt is overall better, same for the overall quality of the figure. He's just great. Well, as great as you can get Sonic in the whole pop vinyl style thing. Next up is Sonic with Emerald, which is just another Sonic, but he's holding the Chaos Emerald this time. That's pretty cool. The pose is definitely more basic for sure, but overall he's almost the same quality as the Sonic with Ring Pop. Now, Shadow is one of the newcomers of the Funko lineup this time, and his standard release is pretty neat. His pose is pretty neat, and he fits the pop style as good as Sonic does. And the next one after Shadow is Dr. Eggman. Now, I have to admit, Eggman with a giant-ass head doesn't exactly look that great in my opinion. His whole design is focused on his giant egg-shaped body, but here, the body is small, and what they made massive is his giant-ass head. And it just looks off. They could have made him a sanctioned Funko Pop because he could have been taller than Sonic and Shadow and have his proportions be a little more accurate, but no. But overall, his body sculpt and pose aren't the worst, albeit basic, but they aren't the worst. And that's it. Those are the 4 common Funko Pops you can find at like any other store, but these next 3 Pops are exclusives that released alongside them. So Super Sonic is our first exclusive Funko Pop. He was released exclusively at GameStop. Now, this Super Sonic is just a variant of the Sonic with Ring Pop, but Super Sonic. He just looks as nice as standard Sonic. His head sculpt is nice, but that's really all this figure has going for it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the guy, but I feel like Super Sonic just has cooler poses to work with, flying, floating, or some sick action pose. But here they just decided to repaint the standard Sonic, but, yellow. It's just a tiny bit lazy, I'll admit. Like, with action figures, I can understand just straight up painting Sonic, but yellow. But with, like, a figurine like this, I feel like you could do something a little more cooler than just him, like, wanging his finger like he does in the standard Pop, but it is what it is. And next up is Shadow with Chow, exclusive at Hot Topic. Ironic considering all the 2000s jokes, Shadow at Hot Topic, but, it's probably unintentional. Shadow's pose this time is a little basic, for sure. It's boring, but you're definitely getting this pop because of the thing he's holding in his hand, the tiny Shadow Chow. Now, this Chow is really adorable. Definitely the best thing about this one. Well, there's not really much else to say because, let's be real, it's a slightly more boring Shadow Pop, but with a cute little Shadow Chow. Look at him, he's so precious. Both of them are pretty neat exclusives. And I already talked about the Toys R Us glow-in-the-dark Sonic because, it's literally just Sonic with rings, but glowing. So overall for Funko Sonic's comeback, this is actually a pretty decent lineup here. Admittedly, some of them could have been cooler, but it is what it is. I don't mind. If you're willing to go back online and buy the normal Pops and the exclusive Pops, then hey, go ahead. They're not worth much besides maybe a few of the exclusives, but that's it. Overall, it's a pretty cool lineup. And there's no other variants there's a variant I forgot to talk about. So it's E3 2018, and Funko decides to make some Pops exclusively for the event. One of the exclusive Pops being a variant of Shadow, being Super Shadow. But just like Super Sonic, they just made him yellow and called it a day. At least with Super Sonic, they made his head sculpt. But with this one, they just straight up made him like this piss-colored yellow and called it a day. His yellow isn't even accurate, but honestly, I feel like that's something on Sega's part because as of late, Super Shadow merch has just been that color. But with a lazy variant like this, you'd think this guy wouldn't be worth much. But no, this fucker pisses me off. Not because he's bad, but because of his value. Now, let me tell you. This man right here is valued for at least $500 or at most $1,000 fucking dollars. You have got me fucked up if anyone is willing to spend that much on a piss-colored Shadow. If you spend that much on a piss-colored Shadow, then I respect the grind then, I guess. I haven't really focused on talking about the value on them, but $1,000, I feel like I should say something about that. They could have made this post cool or something, but at the very least, this one's an easy skip for anyone that doesn't want to spend $1,000 on this guy. Yeah, but whatever, it's lazy. There's more to talk about, so let's just move on from this guy. However, on the deathly brighter side, the same year, GameStop released a metallic Sonic Funko Pop. It was released alongside a shirt and pop bundle. Now, we'll talk about the shirt and the box later because currently we're focusing on the main items, like I've said, so we're just going to be talking about the Funko Pop. But as a sucker for metallic items, I'm cool with this. He has some pretty nice paint, and for a pop like this, included in a bundle like that, it's definitely passable. Something funny I wanted to mention about this though is I saw it compared to the original Sonic with Ring once, and someone called the Metallic Sonic the SADX Sonic, and I honestly thought that was pretty funny and accurate, but yeah, I never thought about that specific pop without thinking about that thought after I saw that. But yeah. Now, we wouldn't get any new Sonic Pops until 2020 with the release of the Super Tails and the Super Silver 2-pack. There is technically two versions of this release, the more common GameStop release that only has a GameStop exclusive sticker, and the San Diego Comic-Con that, just has a different sticker. Literally the only difference is the sticker, but there's somehow a monetary difference, but whatever. This is our first look at a silver and a revised Tails pop. Now, Tails is, let's be honest, already a vast improvement from the original 2013 counterpart. Although it's strange that Tails doesn't have his, eyes, but Sonic and Shadow have their mono eyes, he looks somewhat out of place next to them, but it is what it is. There's also, some differences that, modern Tails doesn't have, but classic Tails does. I think my editor explained it, way better, but yeah. Now, Silver, on the other hand, looks pretty nice in terms of, what you can do in the pop style. And the poses on those two look way better than Super Sonic and Super Shadow's poses. And the pack is confusing when you remember that Tails never actually went super in the modern era. And no, Heroes doesn't count. That's a fluke. That's not Super Tails. It was Super Sonic and giving Tails and Knuckles these shields? I think, are they shields? I don't know. I'm not one of those Sonic channels that focuses on the games. If you want that, go check every other person on this planet. But yeah, otherwise it's a neat pack. 2021 is the next time we'd actually get a new line of Sonic Funko Pops that aren't just a one-off time exclusive. There are only 5 pops in this line, the common ones being Classic Sonic and Silver. Classic Sonic's head is literally just a lighter blue modern Sonic. Nobody else really cares, especially when other companies literally do the same thing, but whatever. What truly makes this one of the better Sonics is the pose. He's not just running, but they have him in this figure 8 thing to make him be able to stand rather than being just a boring standard clear base. It genuinely makes this one look really nice in my opinion. Classic Sonic's definitely got the cooler poses compared to modern Sonic, as we'll soon see later on. Moving on to Silver, he's also a pretty neat figure. Personally, he looks weird next to Sonic and Shadow, but that's not saying he's a bad pop figure. His pose is neat, with his hand out, ready to use his psychonetic powers. The next 3 pops in this line are exclusives, with 2 of them being variants of the same 2 pops we literally just talked about. Their first exclusive of this specific line was Classic Sonic, but flocked. He was released in the Funko shop. Oh. See, I was there the day these were announced, and I remember being so disappointed. The one I wanted the most was a Funko shop exclusive, since they're notoriously known for being an awful site, crashing hard when everyone tries to buy their exclusives, and when you get past that, they'll never make enough to meet the demand. So oftentimes, half of the pops go to collectors or resellers. Anyways, this is really just the Classic Sonic with a flocked feel and look. The blue definitely looks more purple looking if you ask me, rather than the blue standard Classic Sonic. I prefer the flocked look, maybe not at his current value. Next, after this pop, was a glow-in-the-dark Silver pop, exclusive to Hot Topic. Now this guy was cool. Unlike the Toys R Us glow-in-the-dark Sonic that, felt kind of pointless, Silver actually works well with the concept because of his telekinesis powers. Now, when he uses them, he's given this blue glow around him, and here the glow-in-the-dark parts are his fur, and the blue parts of his gloves and boots. It gives off the look that he's using his telekinesis powers while he glows, and it's genuinely a cool concept. If you're willing to spec the extra amount, then he's definitely worth it. More than a common release, if you ask me. The last pop that would be released on the 30th anniversary name would be the Target Con exclusive Flock Tails, released at Target in 2021. This is our first new normal non-Super Tails pop. And like I said before, 10 times better than the original 2013 Tails. I can't compare it to anything else because Super Tails doesn't share the same colors, and there's no actual standard Tails as of now that isn't flocked. Pose is pretty basic, sure, but it's nice to finally have a standard Tails that doesn't look weird or lanky. Now that's it for standard pops, but in the same year, Funko started a new pop line exclusively at GameStop called Pop Game Covers, with the very first one being a Greg Martin inspired Sonic Funko Pop, with the background being the box art from the North American release of Sonic 2 on the Genesis. A Greg Martin Sonic Pop wasn't exactly something I was expecting to exist, but now it does. He looks a little, creepy admittedly, but he's alright. The best part about this is that so many of these pop game cover Sonics just got messed up during production and somehow ended up not connecting them to like the peg. So many of these fucks were so messed up. You can't take the figure out of the base too. If you got one messed up, oh well, too bad. No recall, no replacements or anything. But hey, at least they did this cool thing where the international version of this thing like replaced the colors of the box to represent their version of the game. That's nice. Too bad they butchered most of them up though. Now, before I go on to the pops that released in 2022, there was actually another Sonic product Funko made that wasn't pop related. They released a Sonic Funko Soda, and he looks pretty goofy. Not bad, but the big oval eyes, the big old belly he has, definitely a more cartoony like take on classic Sonic. There's the standard version that most people are more likely to have when you buy the figure, and there's also a Chase Edition flocked Sonic. Yeah, up until now there hasn't been any mention of a Chase in the entirety of the Sonic line until now. Even though you probably already know, a Chase variant is another form of a mystery bag, and at times you have luck on your side, you have a chance of winning the flocked Sonic. I was obsessed with wanting it, but now, yeah, there's no way I'm getting one of these things anytime soon. I don't like the idea of chases, but it was bound to happen with the Sonic license eventually. Yeah, it is what it is. Either way, the sculpt isn't bad, just a tad goofy. Now, 2022 didn't give us as much as 2021. Packaging-wise, everything stayed the same besides any traces of the 30th anniversary logo just being removed from the packaging. 2022 brought us two new exclusives. The first one being this year's TargetCon, bringing in a flocked Knuckles. Funko has officially remade all the pops from 2013, and once again giving people less of a reason to pick up the originals outside of collecting reasons. He looks nice, another vast improvement from 2013 Knuckles. Once again, besides the original, there's no non-flock Knuckles to discuss for now, but otherwise it's nice to finally see we have a better looking Knuckles Funko Pop. And later in the year, for Funkoween, a Sonic the Hedgehog Funko Pop is released at Hot Topic stores. This is the perfect pop for the time it released, and he looks great. I'm a big fan of this one because of how nice it looks, even as a pop. I love how much detail was given to the guy. Out of the two from this year, I definitely prefer the Hedgehog, but that's not to underestimate Knuckles either. They both look pretty good for pop figures. 2023 only gave us one new Sonic Pop last year, that being an exclusive. It was released as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. However, it did get a shared release at Walmart. I genuinely hated the way Funko handled this release of Super Sonic, but whatever. Like I mentioned before, it's about the figures themselves. Now this is how you do Super Sonic. Not only does it have a pose for Super Sonic that fits him, but it glows in the dark, and it looks really nice when it's in the dark. This is what I meant earlier by classic having the cooler poses compared to modern Sonic, but nonetheless, it's a neat pop. But since we're on 2023, remember that Funko Sonic soda I was talking about earlier? You don't? I've been talking about Funko Pop so much. Well, congratulations. I just reminded you of the Funko Soda Sonic Soda. I can talk about the recently released Tails Funko Soda. Personally, he doesn't look as good as Sonic does. It's mostly the eyes for me this time. They look too close together. He also has a Chase flocked figure. It's the same thing, but flocked. Not much to talk about. He's an exclusive to GameStop, but they produced more of him than Sonic, so it can't be too hard to obtain the Chase, but it's whatever. It's time to move on to the big year. Now it's 2024, and Funko is going absolutely crazy with the Sonic license this year. A new common set of Sonic Pops featuring characters that haven't seen the pop treatment up until now, that being Amy Rose and Metal Sonic. Amy, I'll admit, looks like a tad weird, but I'm already getting used to it. This is one of the cool pops because they included her Pico Hammer. Overall, it does look nice. Metal Sonic is another one that looks, a little weird, but this time it's because of his eyes. I think they're a little too far apart, which makes him look a little stupid. But besides that, it's a good looking Metal Sonic. Although I prefer Amy by a slight bit, only because of the stock image makes you think the colors are going to be darker. But when you get it, the metallic paint doesn't look as good as the image leads it on to be. And while the pop is common, this next one is a Pop Rides figure of classic Eggman or Robotnik, whichever one you prefer to call him. Now, everything does look cool, especially the egg hammer itself from Sonic 2, but Eggman himself looks weird. At least with modern Eggman, he has like the goggles, but with classic Eggman being straight up bald and the exact same problem with his giant ass head, it's throwing off the entire thing. It's still cool for the egg hammer, but yeah, Eggman just isn't working well with the pop style. There's also a lot more exclusive pops this year, so I'll try to go over them quickly, but the first revealed is the AAA anime exclusive Supersonic. I genuinely don't know where you can buy this because AAA anime is like a distributor and not a store, but from what I've seen, you can get this off sites like Big Bad Toy Store, possibly Hot Topic and GameStop, etc. But about the figure itself, it's nice. Like, it's a downgrade from the classic Supersonic in my opinion, but the standard one is nice. However, the Chase variant is my personal favorite Supersonic pop out of all of them. A glitter Supersonic in a flying pose. Genuinely a really nice pop. I love the shiny look he has. Albeit like Metal Sonic, the colors aren't as strong in person, especially since I thought he had like no glitter at all the first time I saw it in person. Otherwise, it's still a really nice one though. After the reveal of this Supersonic, another Sonic Pop was revealed, that being the Ring Scatter Sonic. This one is a PX Previews exclusive, but you can find them at the same places you'll see the Supersonic. This one's definitely the most unique Sonic Pop so far, and I can't wait to have this one in my collection. It's a creative idea and honestly looks really nice, especially next to the Eggman Pop Ride. Although, I do admit it's so funny that they used the Greg Martin head sculpt over the recolored modern Sonic one. At least it's accurately representing how much you fucked up by having him get hit by rings. How dare you, you monster. Anyways, our next exclusive is a Shadow and Super Shadow 2-pack at GameStop. It has new Pose Shadow and the new glow-in-the-dark Super Shadow. Now this is a better Super Shadow for sure than the original E3 release of Super Shadow. He still had the piss color, but again, it seems like a Sega problem giving them the okay on the piss color. Pose is cooler and it glows in the dark, so yeah, you're 100% better off buying this one over Mr. Overpriced. And out of nowhere, TargetCon 2024 happens, and with no announcement of a new Sonic Pop until the actual day of TargetCon, with a new Shadow and Amy 2-pack. This one came out of nowhere, but the pops themselves are nice. Both of them are in new poses. Shadow has a nice pose. Same goes for Amy, but the common is nicer mostly because of the Pico Pico hammer. Once again, I don't like the whole image versus actual product thing going on because the highlights on Shadow are shown to be bright and the actual pop it's nowhere near as bright, but once again, they don't look terrible. Shadow could be a tad better, but otherwise he's good. Now, everything I just talked about has been released, but as I'm writing this script, a Knuckles and Rouge 2-pack has been revealed to be coming to GameStop. Knuckles looks nice in the pose given to him, but Rouge looks strange, to be honest. I don't know how to feel about it personally. Might take some time getting used to for me, but as of now, this is the last release planned for Sonic as of now, with more definitely on the way, just not revealed as of now. Now, at this point, you think it'd be time for the conclusion of the video, but nope. I said I wanted to go in depth for this video, and damn it, I really meant in depth. I'm gonna start talking about Quid. What's a Quid? Think NFTs, but before NFTs. But it didn't hurt the environment until they realized they can make it NFTs, but Quid is this digital collecting app that Funko has been a big part in. And at some point, they decided to add in their Sonic line to the app. But it was different. Most of the pops from 2017 to 18 were the exact same as they released physical pops. But they had some digital exclusive ones that would probably never be made, physically at least, but they had Shadow with Ring, Eggman with Chaos Emerald, Sonic, literally just Sonic with Ring without the ring, Sonic with Chow. The Sonic Chow looks so creepy. This sick-ass Supersonic I wish were real. A Sonic with Emerald line, which is literally just Sonic with Emerald, but with the other Emerald colors. Shadow with Emerald, literally Sonic with Emerald line, but but with Shadow. Another sick-ass Super Shadow I wish were real. And lastly, the first Sonic Pop line they made, that black and white. Now, actually, I'm surprised they haven't done this one yet, but I'm scared we're going to get to that point sometime soon. There's also some animated Sonic Pop gifts. There's a line dedicated to only Sonic and another line featuring Shadow and Eggman. I think they're pretty neat. If you want a link to these actual gifts, there will be a link in the description to access of all of them. If you care enough to actually want to save these. These will also be released by Bear Tree Media as Apple Message stickers for 99 cents. They left out half the stickers from both sets, which is disappointing, but it doesn't really matter since I doubt they're still available to purchase to this day. Unfortunately, as of now, that's it for our lovely quid. Back to physical products that actually released, a part of the more miscellaneous items of the Funko Sonic back catalog. Starting with the Pocket Pops. There's been a Pocket Pop keychain for the Sonic with Ring Pop. It was released alongside the 2017 line of Pops, and the quality wasn't exactly great, but they released it in a Pocket Pop shirt bundle, albeit without the keychain part. There's the boxed version and the Target release, with no box, but the Pocket Pop was still protected by plastic. The shirt looks like this, and I swear to God, I genuinely think they stole the pose from this fan art. The pose is the exact same and everything. The shirt was made in kids sizing. Now, no offense, but genuinely, why would you buy your kid this Sonic shirt when you have way more options from other stores that genuinely look better than this? If it's for the Pocket Pop, I understand, but if it's only for the shirt, this is also around $20 retail, all because of that little Pocket Pop you can buy separately. Trust me, there are better options out there if you want to get this for a kid unironically. Apparently, it was originally supposed to be flocked. The little Pocket Pop was originally supposed to be flocked. Now, this is just speculation because, leaks said it was flocked and, listings online said it was flocked. But once you saw the image, well, clearly it's not flocked. But, yeah, I thought it was interesting to, mention anyway. If you want something in adult sizes, that's a problem. I'm not judging. Then Funko already given you an option back in 2018. When I talked about the Metallic Sonic Funko Pop, I mentioned it came in a shirt bundle. And this is what the shirt looks like. It has a neon aesthetic, and if it wasn't for the use of the Pop Sonic design, then I might say this is a good design. But yeah, the Pop thing kind of ruins it for me personally. But hey, this arcade machine style box looks awesome. Great display piece, despite, Sonic not being an arcade character like Wreck-It Ralph would make you think. But let's say you look at Funko Pop Sonic and think, I want my face to be Funko Sonic. If you want to become one with Funko Sonic, let me introduce you to the Sonic Pop Mask. Yes, the madness of Pop Sonic continues with the Sonic Pop Mask, made by none other than Disguise Costumes, a subsidiary of our favorite company, Jakks Pacific. Yes, you can say Jakks technically contributed to the madness that is Funko Pop Sonic items. The mask was originally a Walmart exclusive, but then re-released at Target. The goal of Halloween is to be as scary as possible. Well, move over mid.exe, Mr. Pop Sonic's here to take over. Especially when the way they handle letting you see through the eyes, truly a Halloweener. Now, I'm definitely exaggerating on the hate of Funko Pop Sonic, at least for a chuckle, but on a nicer note, Funko released a set of Sonic Pop pins featuring Tails, Knuckles, Super Sonic, and a standard Sonic. I actually think these look pretty nice, judging by the stock photos. Tails has a weird looking pose, Knuckles is the same pose as his Target Con Pop, Super Sonic is an edited Sonic with Emerald, but I genuinely like the way he looks, and I think Sonic is the best one here, because I want this pop to be actually made into an actual pop. I feel like after so many classic Sonic ones and an increase of new modern pops, I think it would be the perfect time to modernify the 30th anniversary classic Sonic. If they could make a Duncan LeBron that literally looks the same but sold as a different pop, then I feel like making a pop pin Sonic into an actual pop isn't the most far-fetched idea. All the pins glow in the dark, and Sonic has this weird looking all blue chase. They all look to be around the same quality as a fake pin, so these might be worth the pickup. But please, Funko, look at this edit. Look at this edit I made. Just look at it. Look at it. See the vision. I see the vision. Look at the vision. It can work. Now, believe it or not, there's also a pop themed food. First off, we have a Sonic Pez. Yes, this was released before the actual classic Sonic ones that came out. So this was our first Sonic Pez. I'm sure people enjoyed eating Pez out of this thing's mouth or the neck. Now that we got in the best one out of the way, let's talk about cereal. Yes, Funko made cereal at some point, and Sonic was unfortunate enough to get his own Funko cereal. It comes with a Sonic with Emerald Pocket Pop, and then the main course, blue, tasteless cereal. I actually had the experience of eating it, and I can confirm it was shit. Yes, your literal shit does become blue too. Didn't want to know that? Well, too bad. Even though this food coloring definitely gave it away, shit was genuinely nasty. But hey, at least the box was cool looking, right? But let's move away slightly from food. How about, let's just say you need a lunchbox for your lunch. Loungefly, a Funko-owned brand, has answered someone's prayers out there for a Funko Pop Sonic lunchbox with a recolored classic Sonic to represent modern Sonic. See. Remember what I said about the pins? Yeah, see the vision. With a Tails, Shadow, and Amy on the back of it. Like the kid shirt, I don't know why you generally would get this over a normal Sonic lunchbox unless you're like Funko's biggest Sonic supporter. But if the lunchbox isn't enough for you, how about a Funko Sonic Pop mini backpack? Now, this thing straight up just looks silly. He's staring at you with this very, very blank stare, taking your mind over. Both of these items are probably rotting in your Target's nearest clearance bin, because alongside the Shadow and Amy 2-pack, these were also shadow dropped at this year's Target Con for some reason. It's hilarious how they handled these releases, to be honest. You want something that's genuinely made with better materials and overall something that genuinely looks better, look no further than the Loungefly Classic Sonic Cosplay Mini Backpack. Now this genuinely looks really good. The fur on Sonic, the inside graphics of the backpack itself, they really nailed this backpack. And they even made a matching wallet with the same amount of quality. Now, unlike the Target Con items from Loungefly, these will be more expensive, but with the quality overall being better with these, it might be worth the get if you're interested. And so far, that's it. However long this video might be, I did my best to cover every little official thing even remotely connected to Funko Sonic as much as I can. I would have loved to go into the very, very deep rabbit hole that is Sonic Pop bootlegs, but this video might be long enough, so that's it for now. There will be future releases that will outdate this video soon, since this is clearly not the end of Sonic Funko products. But I hope you enjoyed hearing me ramble on about these little fucks for a while. I would love to do this extensive type videos on other manufacturers that want or still hold the Sonic license, so let me know if you'd want to see that. I made this video because I generally miss making videos, and it'd be nice to make them without having to wait on buying everything first like I do with all the Jack specific releases. But that's it for the video. I hope you liked it, especially since it's my first time doing like these scripted like videos, so I hope it was good. Any critiques, just send my way. It's all good. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you on the flip.